on Hope for Today. I am with Dr. Jamie Morgan, and my name is Mandy Owen. I'm filling in for John Bates. We are so glad you've joined us today. Dr. Jamie Morgan is my mentor and is a trailblazer for women in ministry. We are excited to have her today. She is actually joining us at Freedom, hosting a women's conference this Father's Day weekend. So, Jamie, tell us a little bit about you and about your ministry with Trailblazers.
Yeah, so I was born again when I was 26 years old. I became a Christian at 26. I was delivered from alcoholism and depression and fear. And when I became a Christian, I knew almost immediately, like in that moment, that God had a call in my life. I wouldn't have been able to articulate what the call was or even say, I have a call. But I knew God wanted to use me. So I just began serving the local church. And it was there that the Lord began changing me, setting me free, healing me of living life for me, because for 26 years I lived for me in the world. And the Lord started preparing my heart, giving me a servant's heart, being faithful with the little, and then He will give us much. And so there was a day that the Lord encountered me in my daily devotions and said, I have called you to evangelize the nations. That was my original call. And I said, yes, Lord. I became a Christian at 26. I would say that was in my early 30s. And I went to my pastor and I was so excited. And he wasn't very excited because he didn't believe in women in ministry. And yet the Lord wouldn't let me leave that church. But I held on to His promises. You know, sometimes even when you experience disappointments or things aren't working out the way you thought they would, we have to lean into the goodness of God and hold fast to His promises. And so a couple of years later, the Lord completely changed. I don't know if He completely changed His heart, but changed His heart with regard to me in ministry. And He was actually the one that launched me into the ministry. So I was an evangelist, and I was a senior pastor, and I've been a teacher of the word. And then Mandy, I felt the grace of God begin to lift from me pastoring a church. And I felt a new grace descending. And for a while, it feels like this. And I said, God, what are you doing? Because it's a very tumultuous feeling. Mm-hmm. And He said, I am calling you to a new ministry. And then He gave me a vision. Wow. And in the vision, I saw this harvest field. And it went on as far as the eye could see. It was the most beautiful, lush harvest field I had ever seen. We've all seen pictures of harvest fields, but this is the most beautiful harvest field. And then it was like God zoomed into the harvest field. And I saw these round black placeholders, like these round black discs, placed intermittently every so often in the harvest field. I said, God, what are they? And He said, they are placeholders that I placed at the foundation of the world for laborers. And He said, as you can see, most of the placeholders remain vacant. Most Christians are not walking in their call, is basically my translation of what God was saying to me. And He said, and this is what He said, the hour is urgent, and I need all hands on deck, both men as well as women. Amen. And He said, I've called you to gather, mobilize, and mentor women that have a call on their lives, and thrust them into the harvest field and walk with them even as they're in their particular harvest field, so that they will walk in the fullness of their call. Yeah. Because the reality is most women aren't walking in their call at all, and even those that aren't walking in all that God has for them.
Right. Yeah. You know, so Dr. Jamie, I met Dr. Jamie a few years ago at a conference, and I had felt like I had a call my whole life. From the time I was a little girl, I felt like I had a call. But life circumstances happened for me. Had trauma. There was abuse. Whole testimony. Everybody has a story. You have a story. You have a story. Things happened. And I never walked out that call, but that feeling inside of me never went away. I started a career. I was very successful in my career, but deep inside of my soul, I still felt like I had a call in my life because I did the same way you do, the same way all of us do.
Yes.
But it was such a fire inside of me that I almost felt like this is way bigger than me. And not everybody can feel this way. I mean, it was just like it was consuming me. Like I knew I had to do something. And then I met Dr. Jamie, and she called me out of this room. She's like, you have a call in your life. And God connected me with her, and she really was able to help me launch some of the things that I needed to launch to start walking in that call. And Dr. Jamie, I feel like this will be aired over many, many, many nations. And they'll be aired in nations where women may not have the ability that we have in the United States to function in their call the way we do. So to them, like you told me the story about God can do more. There's two things you told me that really motivated me. That God can do more with a moving boulder than a sitting stone or something like that. And you also said that you didn't want women to go to their grave with all of the unwritten books,
Right.
with their story not being told, with the song that should have been written, with whatever God's called you to do, going to the grave with them. That the time is now.
Yes.
So there's women watching this, maybe in some country that they're really not allowed to function well. What would you say to them, kind of like what you did for me, that would help them to minister and start walking into their call where they're at right now?
Yeah, I loved when you said about the boulder analogy that I give, that a rock that is rolling is easier to navigate and maneuver than a boulder that's stationary. And sometimes we will wait. Okay, I'm going to wait for that open door. I'm going to wait till the people in authority over me acknowledge the call. I'm going to wait. And if God is saying now, if God is calling you, which I believe He is, He's calling each and every one of us because the hour is urgent. Start with, look in your life and say, Lord, what platforms have you already given me? Well, one of them is social media. That's a platform. Are we using all the different areas that God has already placed before us? And as I said earlier, when you're faithful with the little, God will give you much. So just begin witnessing to your neighbor. Gather a few people together and have a Bible study. If you're called to be a pastor, start like that. If you're called to be a teacher of the word, the first time I ever had a Bible study, I was a brand new believer, didn't know anything about the word, and I went and I got a video of a teaching, and I played the teaching, and I had like a handout. I invited friends over to my house, and it was about praying for your children, and I wrote these handouts, and after the video we talked about it. Like, you could do something like that. You can just start where you are. Lord, what have you already placed in front of me? And do not give up. There is opposition to our call for men and women. Something I want you to remember: the devil is the devil, no matter what gender you are.
Right.
So it's not that we have it worse. Men are attacked by the enemy as well. We just have it different. They get attacks that we don't sometimes get, and vice versa. And so don't let that stop you. The opposition will be there, but you hold on to the promise of God and let Him open doors. Let Him launch you, but you put your hand to the plow with what's right in front of you now.
Amen. We just got back from a 10-day mission trip to Romania. And women in Romania really aren't allowed to minister. They're not allowed to teach. They're not allowed to be ordained. But we met so many women that were hungry and that were starting underground prayer meetings. With this one church, this group of women, where the fire of God was so powerful on them. And they had just said, I'm going to start praying. And so they brought more people. And then men actually joined their group. So it started off with like 2 or 3 women. And now it's like, I think, 20. And they even have like men that have joined this prayer meeting because it's so powerful. I mean, so you can really take whatever God has given you, what you're passionate about. Write the song, write the book, write the story, and get it on paper because it needs to be written. I think you have also said that there's a book in every single one of us.
There is. And it reminds me of what you were just talking about. I knew God. I've always had a passion for souls, always, from the day I was saved. And now I'm as old as Moses, so you have to remember this is the days of the electronic typewriter before computers. I got a typewriter out and I put a blank piece of paper and I made a tract out of my testimony.
Amen.
And I
Yes.
passed out that tract.
Yeah.
Places I would put them in my handbag. That was me just sharing my story at the grocery store, at my place of work. Anytime God gave me the opportunity. I want you to remember this and never forget it. No one can stop God's call on your life but you.
Amen.
No one, not the devil,
Amen.
not your husband, not your wife, not your pastor, no one but you.
Amen. That's so good. So good. You know, and even in sometimes I think I see women that will say, well, I don't have I'm too old, or I don't have the ability. You can pray. And as you start interceding for your family, and as you start interceding for your community, and as you start interceding for your region,
Yes.
you can shift the atmosphere of that region for revival and for the
Amen.
end time harvest to come. So I just want to empower everyone watching this right now, wherever you're at, man or woman. I want to empower you to step into your call, empower you to find an open door. And if there's not an open door, kick a door in, and start doing something. Another analogy that you use often is it's easy. You can build the plane as you're flying.
Right. Build the plane as you're flying it. Don't wait till the plane's built.
Yeah.
Never, don't wait. Just start. And God will build the plane as you're going along. But ministry is building the plane as you're flying it, for sure.
So you actually right now you have a network called Trailblazer Mentoring Network.
Yes.
You also have a certified mentor school. So you if you're interested, and maybe you're in a different country, you can find Dr. Jamie online. She has a mentoring network, mentoring school. She has amazing classes that would help you. What are you seeing right now from the different regions? I mean, you have women that you mentor all over the world. What are you seeing that's going on in women in ministry today?
Yeah, I am seeing those same words that the Lord spoke to me. There's an urgency of the hour. I see God depositing that in the hearts of women, and even women that have known for years that they've had a call of God in their life but didn't have the courage to step out are now stepping out into their call, because you have to have your head in the sand to see, even with what's going on all over the world, that there is an urgency of the hour, and time is short, and there's no time to waste. One day, well, maybe, someday I'll get around to answering my call. There's no time for that. There's just no time for that. Time is now.
Start today.
Yes.
Start today. Amen. So with your mentoring, certified mentoring school and the network, how would someone find that? How would they get involved with that? How would they reach you, and what would they benefit from it?
Yeah. So you can go on my website, jamiemorgan.com. Jamie is spelled Jamie, jamiemorgan.com. You can find on my website both Trailblazer Mentoring Network as well as Trailblazer Certified Mentor School. And if you are a woman of God that wants to step out in your call, and you want someone to walk beside you as you're following hard after Jesus and his call on your life, I would be honored to be your mentor. I maybe in the last 8 or so years had a mentor. I know what it's like to go years without someone pouring into me and encouraging me and challenging me and inspiring me. And if you are a woman of God that maybe you've been in the ministry, I want to challenge you to sign up for Trailblazer Certified Mentor School. And again, you can find both on jamiemorgan.com.
Yeah, amen. I can say one of the things I love most about Dr. Jamie is how much she loves people. She not only is an apostle and a trailblazer and a leader among leaders, she truly has an evangelist heart and truly has a pastor's heart. She is my mentor, and so I have gone through both. I'm in her mentoring network and as well as her certification school, and she truly, when I'm with her, she pours her heart into me. Like, she is 100% about me and about what the God's call is on my life, about what the Lord's speaking to me. And she's my champion. I mean, she's my biggest cheerleader. And I feel that from the bottom of my heart when I'm with you. And she wants that for everybody. She really, truly wants to see the world change.
Yes.
She wants to see souls come into heaven.
Yes.
I mean, her passion is souls. And so if you
Yes.
have questions, if you're interested in learning more, I encourage you to reach out to her. If you are in ministry, especially, maybe you're in ministry and you don't have a mentor, I can tell you that it is really, really hard for men to find mentors. It is impossible for women. And
Truly.
so I encourage you to find someone. If it's not in your local area, then reach out to Dr. Jamie
Yes.
online, or find someone like Dr. Jamie if you can. But
Yeah.
I encourage everyone to have that accountability.
Yeah,
Not
absolutely.
only the accountability is important, to really be able to say, hey, does this make sense? But also that support. I'm a dreamer, and I move more in the prophetic, and having that sound theological accountability above me to be able to say, Dr. Jamie, does this make sense? Is this right? That covering is so important. It's so important to have a support network around you of people you trust. And Dr. Jamie is very trustworthy. I love what we did in Romania. I love everything you're doing with the women in the United States and across the world. I mean, you are an honor to work under and to be with. And I'm just proud to know you and to have you as my friend.
Thank you. Thank you.
My friend and my mentor.
I know. I feel the same way about you, Mandy.
Well, guys, thank you so much for joining us today on Hope for Today. We hope you have a blessed week, and see you next time.